Hello, we're here with Sara Erickson from Renegade Games, and Sarah's going to show us some of their hot new titles here at Gen Con 50. Take it away, Sarah.
Thanks.
What are we looking at?
This is our big secret announcement that we just posted about this morning, and this is Clank in Space. And we're very excited because we have so many fans that just really love Clank, and we didn't want to let them down, but we thought it'd be fun to do something secret and surprising and just have it here available for sale at Gen Con.
No one heard anything about it. It's amazing.
It is incredible. We kept a pretty tight lid on it, and really want to thank our media partners that helped us out with that. They did a few reviews, but they were pretty much the only guys who knew about it, so we're really surprised that it didn't get out.
Keep a tight lid. All right, well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, for sure. So in Clank in Space, you are now on a spaceship. So in regular Clank, you're in an adventure in a dungeon, and you go down into the depths and you fight a dragon. In this one, you are on a spaceship, and you're trying to get to the end of the spaceship where Lord Eradicus has just finished his victory tour, wandering around the universe, bothering things and stealing their treasure. You're trying to go back and steal some of that treasure for yourself. And to get there, though, if you notice, the cover is green, and that's because he's hiding behind a force field. And you have to go to a couple different locations in the ship, place down some cubes, and then you unlock that force field to be able to go get the treasure. So it's a little bit more thinky than regular Clank, but has all the same fun elements of the suspense. You're drawing cubes, you're still trying to race to get that thing, but now you have to think a little bit harder about where you're going, which I think is great.
So with the force field element, is there a more co-op element to this game, or is it still totally competitive?
The force field is just for you. You get the security code, and then you can take down the force field, but then it goes back up. So there is nothing cooperative about this game. In fact, it's a little more competitive because in this one, you have to make it to an escape pod. But there's only room for one person in that escape pod.
Whoops.
So if you get to there's 3 of them, even a 4-player game. So if you get to an escape pod first and you leave, the person right behind you has to take a different track and go to a different one now. And you still can make it to the shuttle bay, and then you can get your points and score, but you don't get the extra points for leaving. You have to make it into one of those escape pods. So very exciting, lots of suspense again.
Can you tell us a little bit about Libris?
Yes, I'm so excited about this game. It's fantastic. I'm a little cheesy, but my mom's a librarian, and this game is about being a librarian.
I love books, so tell me about it.
Awesome. In this game, you are trying to be the grand librarian, and you do that by having the best bookshelf possible. So you're collecting all of these rare tomes, which are going to be on cards like this that have different books on them, and they tell you where in the alphabet those books are. You're then going to place these into your tableau area and try and have them be in alphabetical order, because at the end of the game you only score books that are alphabetized. So there's this nice fun puzzly aspect to it. But the other thing that's just super cool about this game is that you are one of 12 different playable characters.
12. Talk about overachievement. Well, show us some of the players.
What we're doing. So you can play as, say, a ghost, and you get special abilities when your ghost Meeple goes out into the world to take an action. So it's a worker placement game, but these guys do special abilities. Everyone is going to have other Meeples, these are your regular assistants, that just do the generic action. But when you use your special assistant, it's going to do something really cool. So they're very flavorful. We've got the ghost, we have a bookworm.
Of course.
We've got the fire imp, very fiery. We've also got gelatinous cube. This could be your character. How exciting is that?
I would love to have that character.
And they're all just really goofy and weird. The Sasquatch, the Goblin, all sorts of fun stuff.
I'm just going to pretend that that's a skull inside there. I don't know if you can see that.
He's been eating things. It's a cube, a gelatinous cube. That's what they do. So we've got all these different playable characters. They do these special actions, and they go out into the world, and you place them on a location tile, which would be something like this. And it lets you place one of these 2 spots, like a worker placement game. Once they're full, they're full. Yep. And it does whatever the ability is. However, each round, you're going to have different available locations to send your guys to. And they'll start out with just a few of them, and then most of those get wiped, and you get all new ones, and then some of those get wiped, and you get more. So it starts building up. At the beginning of the game, you only have a few choices, and by the end of the game, you have lots of different locations you can go to.
Love it.
Every round, they're totally different. So there's so much replayability in this game. You may not even see all the locations the first time you play through. You're not going to get to play all the characters until you've done it 12 times, and every time you play, you're just going to have these different options. So it's super fun. It's so thematic. I love the artwork too. Adam P. McIver is the designer, but he's also the graphic designer for this game.
Of course he is.
He is amazing.
His art is fantastic.
So impressed with all the little details he put in. Like every one of these cards, and there's hundreds of these cards, and he has written a different book name for every one of these books, and they're hilarious. You'll want to go through and read them. And then also the actual illustrator for it is Jackie Davis, who was a Disney illustrator. She's incredible.
Yeah,
so
the art is fantastic.
Combination of both of their skills has really led to one of the most beautiful games we have.
So let's get a close-up of this. The art is amazing. Super colorful with rich colors, but nice pastels as well.
Yeah, it's very attractive. It's also very familiar feeling, and this isn't a confrontational game. It's worker placement, so maybe somebody will go where you wanted to go. But for the most part, it's really just who can be the best librarian, and I think that the artwork really lends itself to that feeling of the game as well.
But we all can't be the best librarian. Have you played this? Are you the best librarian, Sarah?
I am the grand librarian, yeah.
Have you made your mom proud?
I think she would be proud.
Love it. All right. Well, this is Ex Libris from Renegade Games. We're going to talk about 3 new games from Renegade: Scott Pilgrim, Atlas Enchanted Lands, and Raiders of the North Sea. Sarah, what can you tell us about these games?
Yeah, thanks. Scott Pilgrim is coming out soon, and it is about, of course, the Scott Pilgrim graphic novels by Brian Lee O'Malley. He is amazing. I love this whole IP, and it's going to be really fun to play as one of those characters from the movie, from the graphic novels, and try and make your life better. Because you start out with a generic deck that's made for your character. So if I'm Ramona Flowers, I'll have a special Ramona Flowers deck of pretty basic cards. But it's just my basic life. I want to make that better by getting a better apartment, by having a job, maybe get a girlfriend, whatever.
Better hair color.
Better hair color. And so during the game, it's a deck building game, and you add things to your deck that add to your life. And it's very flavorful. I love how many little details Keith Baker put into the game to make sure that fans were really excited to play the character that they picked. Each one plays very differently, so that's going to be super fun.
Well, sounds really exciting. What about Atlas Enchanted Lands?
Atlas Enchanted Lands is by J. Alex Cavern, one of my favorite designers, and this is a great game for playing during lunch breaks when you're waiting for the bus, something like that. It's a very quick game. It's about 20 minutes, and it's a card game where you're trying to guess whether or not a row or a column is going to get completed first. So think sets and runs in a card game. And in this card game, you have these beautiful artwork of different times of day and at different places. And if you place a card, then you can place chips on it to sort of bet whether it's going to get completed one way or the other. Very unique. I've never seen mechanics like this in a game at all, so you definitely have to try it. And the artwork by Beth Sobel, you can put it on your wall. It's just gorgeous.
She's amazing. So, well, I'm excited about that. And last but definitely not least, Raiders of the North Sea. Hear good things. Tell us about it.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason why it was nominated for the Kennerspiel des Jahres this year, because it is one of the most unique worker placement games I've played. Every time you place a worker on the board, you take that action, but then you choose another worker that's already on the board, you pick it up and do that action as well. So you only ever have one worker, and you're trying to do these actions to build up to get a better worker, to have enough resources to go on these raids that get you a ton of plunder and treasure and that type of thing for the end game. But it's a very unique feel, and I love the way the scoring works. I love the way the meeples work. Tons of great decisions, and of course, again, the artwork. Super amazing. The Miko does this one,
yes.
And I love his work.
It's really amazing. Is this going to have a lot of the same pieces and components as the Kickstarter version?
Yeah, if you missed out on the Kickstarter, don't worry. This is exactly the same interior components as the previous version. We've still got the metal coins, we've got the extra thick box, and the really hefty tiles. Everything in here is the same, and we wanted to make sure that anyone who played Shem Phillips' Beautiful Gamers in the North Sea had the same great experience.
Well, I know that you'll take care of it. Tell me about this. There's also 2 other games, and are you going to be producing those as well?
Yeah, that's the other exciting thing about Raiders is that it's part of a trilogy. So if you want to play through the entire Viking era and get all that great history, you can do that with Shipwrights in the North Sea, which is the first one. It's a drafting game. Then you play Raiders in the North Sea, which is, of course, a worker placement game. And then you can go on and play the Explorers of the North Sea, which is a tile lane exploration game. And if you want to play all three of those together, even though they're totally different games, we are also making the Rune Saga, which is a campaign mode for all three of them. And we're also doing the expansions for each as well. So you can get the entire line, all the Raiders you could possibly imagine, all through us by the close to the end of the year, early next year.
Wonderful. Well, we're so happy for Renegade, and we wish you all the best.
Great.
Thanks so much for taking the time.
Awesome.
Yep,
Good to
take
see
care.
you.
Bye.